One of the ways that you can develop extra income as a doctor is to develop an online course. This is where you leverage your expertise and share your knowledge with others. And nowadays they have tools that make it a lot easier. Today I'll be talking with Dr. Maiysha Clairborne. We're going to be talking about online courses on this episode of Bootstrap MD. Say hi. Hey guys, this is Dr. Mike Ming, also joined by
Dr. Maiysha, also known as Stress-Free Mom MD. Hey, y'all.
Hey, and we're continuing our series. We're calling it Internet Income for Doctors. And we're going to be having an event this October called Bootcamp MD that we'd love for you to join. We wanted to give you kind of a sneak preview, or as well as just for people who might be new to having developed an online business. Both Maiysha and I have developed successful online businesses throughout the years. And today I thought we could talk about online courses. There's a lot of people, there's a lot of different platforms about creating your own online courses. What's the best way to how to get started, how to come up with ideas? So I thought we could tackle that topic today, Maiysha, if that's okay with you.
Yeah, I'd love that.
Okay, so online courses. How did you get started with developing an online courses? Maybe your own experiences, or maybe you've purchased online courses. How did that all get started for you?
Well, I definitely have purchased online courses before, and I never thought that it would be possible for me to do it because it seemed like it was so complicated. But what I realized is that, in our profession, sometimes we say the same things over and over and over and over again. So, if you're saying the same thing over and over and over again to various people, why not actually digitize that and sell it and have people, be able to be empowered in their choice to go through this program. It's also the start of leading people to come to you still directly in a higher level coaching program, or if you're a doctor, if you have a practice, come to the practice to get more one-on-one. But what got me into it is that I was saying the same thing over and over again to multiple patients. And I found that once I started to research doing it, it was not as difficult as I thought.
Yeah, I think the great thing about online courses is that, most, as doctors, we usually get paid per patient, or we get paid on an hourly scale. Mm-hmm. What I love about creating a course is like set and forget. So I actually have courses that I've done like a few years ago that still sell to this day, just because I've already done it. And I think what's, kind of great about the internet is now there's all these different topics that, typically how we would get information is through a book. Well, as you know, let's say you take a course on Instagram marketing. Well, that book, by the time it's published, it could be, even 6 months to a year old. And that might be obsolete just because of the way, technology is changing, education is changing. And with an online course, sometimes, like if I want to update it, I can add another video to it, or I can edit part of it, and that makes it a lot more relevant.
Right.
What are your thoughts?
Well, I 100% agree. I think that it automates your, this whole thing of information marketing is becoming bigger and bigger, and it automates you being able to generate revenue with the information and the expertise that you paid so much money to gain, right? And so to be able to automate that and to have that revenue go on for as long as you want it to go on, for as long as that course is out there. And yes, to be able to create like little bonus modules if something gets updated, or if one module needs to be updated, you don't have to rewrite a whole book. You just have to update that one module. It makes it so much more convenient. And you can, the courses don't have to be super long. They could be short. But one thing the thing I like most about it is you can automate it. And that's how you begin to create passive online income.
Yeah, and probably later in the call, we'll talk about like how the different platforms are. But I remember getting my first online course on. It was a struggle. You would have to, and it would be expensive. I would actually have to get, I like to use video, even expensive to stream it. Some of the ways that we were doing it was really cumbersome. We were doing it through a blog or WordPress site. And it was very difficult. But now you've got different platforms that are out there that it's really is, if you've ever uploaded something on YouTube, it's pretty simple to do, and
Yeah.
it's pretty similar to that. So let's talk about, like, well, how do I know, like, what to actually sell? I know some. I was talking with a physician, and he says, "Well, I don't know if I'm an expert at something." And I know you coach doctors about this, and I'm sure sometimes they have kind of the same, fears, or maybe some ego issues, that they don't feel like they're an expert or whatever that is. How would you answer that to them?
Well, I think as physicians, we've been trained that the context of an expert is someone who's been published multiple times and speaks at big conferences, and like all of these like flowery big things, right? And the bottom line is, you are an expert just because you are a physician who treats patients. So whatever your specialty is, that thing that you love and you're passionate about, like as a family doc, we treat from the womb to the tomb. So sometimes family docs are more drawn towards women's health, like I was, or more towards, geriatrics, or more towards kids, like that sort of thing. But you're an expert in whatever that is, especially in comparison to the patients that you might, or if it's a parent that you might be creating the course for, you are already the expert. If you have gotten your degree and you've been practicing, you are already an expert. So that's what I like to say to docs. Even if you are in the realm of coaching other medical professionals, if you've already gone through what they've been through and created that success story for yourself, you are still more of an expert in that than they are. And that allows you to be able to create a course with that content.
Yeah, and I think with the word expert, some people like say, I'm a video game nut, so they'll have like beginner and then intermediate, and then expert is like the top thing, and like you need to know everything. And there's books like The Tipping Point, I think, where they said you need to have 10,000 hours to become an expert. And I think an expert is just someone who knows a little bit more than you do. In coming back to our topic about like coming up with ideas, I remember when I was first starting out and working on creating my clinic, and I wanted to start a weight loss program. And I actually signed up for an online course that was already created by a doctor. And I think it was like $500 or something like that. But when I got it, I was like, is that all that you're going to give me? And one of the reasons why I said, I can create a course that might be better. So when I'm looking for ideas, it's not only things that I think people might want to have. It's also things where like I've actually been searching for the problem.
Yeah.
And it took me so long to actually find out the problem. That could be the basis for your next course.
Absolutely. And what I always say is you want to look at where, if you're jumping into an industry where there's already a lot of something like weight loss, there's a lot of weight loss stuff out there. There's a lot of nutrition stuff out there. Look for the gaps. Look for where is there a gap in education around this? And then the course might fill that gap. And that's where you get that demand comes, And so like, even for myself, when I created my first course, The Wellness Blueprint, this was back when I was practicing in my private practice, it was because there was really nothing out there that addressed, there was a lot that was like nutrition and exercise and meditation, but there was nothing that addressed the whole thing. Like now they call it the circle of life, the wheel of life, right? In life coaching. But there's nothing that addressed everything from the beginning to the end, all areas of life, how you create that balance. And that's why I created the Wellness Blueprint from. So you look at where the gaps are in what you want and what you are interested in creating, and you fill those gaps.
Yeah, I love that idea about the gaps. I think another thing too is if you have your own list or you have your own audience, ask them like, what do they want? I would survey, my list, or maybe you find a lot of questions. Let's say you're on a favorite Facebook group and you see the same questions again and again and again. We've all seen it, right? That's a great place to create a course. If they say, here are all my questions that we have, And then basically the course is just answering those questions.
Absolutely.
So when we're talking about a course, and you kind of alluded to it, there's different prices, there's different ways that you can have it. You could do like a video, let's say a 6-week or a 4-week course, or maybe you're giving it all at once, kind of like Netflix kind of drops all of the episodes kind of thing.
Yes.
How do you kind of structure your course? Is there one way that works best for you? What's been your experience?
It really depends on who your target market is and what your topic is. So on the one hand, in my business mastermind courses, I actually time release those because I want to make sure people are doing the work as designed. But like in some courses, I just drop it all in and it's self-paced. So you have to determine, well, what is the intention of the course and how do you want people to work through the course? And as when you come to the conference, we'll go a little bit deeper into, how you identify who that ideal target market is and the intention for the online course. But you have to start thinking about, well, what's the intention? How do you want people to move through that? How did you move through it in a way that that worked for you, so that you recreate that experience for them, so you know that they're going to get those same results.
Yeah, I think the way that I've been structuring my courses, and everyone is different, and you're so right. It's all about your target market, and it's all about what you actually want to give. So in some of my courses I've done in the past, where I would have 2 versions, I would have like a self, go through your self-pacing course. You go through it at your own, and then I would have it where the one course it's also self-pacing, but there's more interaction with me. So I might throw in a couple live classes. I might throw in, well, this one I'll be giving you homework and I'm giving you feedback. So that's actually taking more of my time. So I think I can price that accordingly. But then you can do a cheaper version where here's what it is, or a basic version. And then you satisfy someone who maybe they're not ready to kind of make that commitment. And let's say, you charge hundreds or thousands, and maybe you have one thing that's maybe like, I would say like $250 to $500, and maybe you price something higher end. It could be $1,000, $2,000 or more, where it's, homework and having those live classes. One thing that I've liked, and this is kind of a little nugget for you guys, is sometimes I've had courses where I don't even have the product yet. And it's one of my favorite ways of doing it, is when I'm actually selling like a 4-week or a 6-week course where, I know that someone where it's live and I'm teaching it, they're going to pay extra for that because I'm having that interaction, just like going to a class. But I haven't even created it. So I haven't even created the videos. And now that 6-week live course is now, I can now later sell that because I recorded all of it. And I found out what worked and what didn't work and what areas did and not. And again, like we said earlier, we can always change things.
Right.
And that's what I love to do, especially like when I want to get something out there and I'm not sure, everything, all the topics I've been covering is what they exactly want. So I'm actually testing it as well. Have you ever done anything like that where you actually are creating the course on the fly?
That is one place where I haven't stepped, is the creation on the fly. I think most of my courses are created in retrospect, having done a lot of live coaching and things like that, maybe done some Facebook Lives here and there. And I'm like, hey, this is a course. And what I tend to do is I like PowerPoint. So we hadn't gotten into platforms yet, but I like screencasting and having myself in the PowerPoint. So that way, people who are visuals, they can see the words, right? So that's the way I tend to create courses. I have wanted to step into this live creation of a course, and I just haven't done it yet. And actually, maybe I'll do that at the conference. Maybe I'll do a beta group at the conference. Who knows?
So that's pretty interesting what you said, and got me thinking too. Is There's different ways that you can have courses. You can have a completely audio course if you'd like.
Yeah.
If for those who are afraid to go on camera, you can do video. Like what we have here, we're using Zoom or one of those webinar type. GoToWebinars is another one where you can just have it recorded. You can have in guest speakers, or you can have video. But let's say you don't want to have your face there. You could be a completely like a PowerPoint, like you said, and you're just walking it through the PowerPoint. Screen capture video. I use ScreenFlow. There's Loom. There's different types of Camtasia, I believe it's PC. So there's different ways that you can record it. So, and it's just like it's in anything. Like you can hear in the video, it doesn't have to be professional. You guys are hearing the ums and ahs and pauses as we're doing it. What I found out is if you've got a really topic that really resonates with somebody, they just want the content. They want the information. It doesn't have to be, some people think, well, I need to get a professional studio. I don't know if you've done that, but you've gone in a professional studio and
not at all.
Thousands of dollars and cameras and such. What are ways that you've been using to record your courses?
I use my computer and the ScreenFlow and these little babies here, or my lovely lavalier, and that's it. I got a ring light in the back so that the light falls on me and I look angelic.
Of course.
If there's going to be video. But one thing I will say that it's important, and we'll talk a little bit. We'll go a little deeper about this in the actual workshop. Is you want to structure you want to have some structure, like an outline or something, an idea, unless you're pulling a Mike John Wayne thing going on where you're just doing it on the fly. You're just old cowboy, But if you do, like I'm an organizer, like I'm a structure person. So I like to, before I go on, rather than just walking person through a PowerPoint and reading off the PowerPoint, I like to have sort of a basic outline of what I'm going to talk about so that it does flow. I know where I'm going next, and it feels natural to the people who are listening to it or watching it on video.
That makes sense. So let's talk about different platforms. There's a few that are out there. What's one that you use in terms of creating your course?
I actually have my site built on Joomla, which is it's a different web platform than like Word. Most people have WordPress. So then I have an app called Joomla LMS. It's a learning management system. Now, that is something that over time that I've created because, I customized it, right? But there's a lot of platforms out there like Teachable. A lot of people use Teachable. BrainCert is another one. I don't think a lot of people know about that, but it's a really nice platform and it integrates well into websites. There's an all-in-one called, this one, Builderall, and it integrates not only the webinar stuff, but also the email marketing and the flow, that piece as well. So there are a lot of, Kajabi is the other one that a lot of people like, right? So there are a lot, you have to look to see which platform works for you. But one thing that's nice about many of these, like Teachable and Kajabi, I know, and I think BrainCert, is that it houses everything. Like you can put your course on there, they can pay, they can have your landing page, like it helps to streamline so you don't have too many different parts, right?
Right. One that I've used quite a bit is another one's called Thinkific. It's also like Teachable. And what I like about it is, and I'm sure most of the platforms more have it, but it really is just like uploading a video. You can actually watch a student going through it, so you can actually know if they've actually gone through everything. They already have questions. And then, well, I asked you that question in episode 3, and I noticed you're still in episode 1 or session 1. Maybe we got to go through session 1 on there. So you can actually see people progressing. And then if you see somebody who's purchasing the course and they're not using it, say, hey, just want to make sure things are going. I see that you haven't gone through much of it. What can we do to help? And it really, it really gives you that interaction between the teacher and the student. So, and then finally, of course, selling, and you're also going to be teaching a course. I know you're doing a whole session on selling, because that's your expertise.
Yes.
What are the ways that you've been selling your online course?
Well, so there's a lot of different ways you can approach it, right? Again, based on your target market. I can sell direct through my Facebook groups, right? So that's one way to do it. If you have your own Facebook group, if you're a member of a Facebook group that allows you, that empowers, you know, the selling of products, and there are some out there, then you could do it that way. There are some various structures in Facebook to set up for yourself that when you get into those groups with your target market, you get good with the admin, and there are certain things that you can build authority so that when that course comes up, you might sell it from a Facebook Live or something like that. But also, I do it through advertising, Facebook advertising.
Yes, and you're actually someone that I'm still learning from in terms of Facebook advertising and figure it out. And again, you'll be teaching a lot of this at Bootcamp MD. And matter of fact, it was interesting. I just got an email the other day, and in our first bootcamp that we did early this year, we really focused on this one on online businesses. But I made a comment about creating your own Facebook group. Mm-hmm. We talk more of that as we get to the workshop. And one of the students who was there, or actually, she actually saw the homestay version. She already said she built her Facebook group to about 900 people in about a month.
Wow!
Just from a little nugget that she took from our first course. Yeah. And that's mm-hmm. It's amazing. So yeah, there's different ways you can do it. Facebook groups, pay-per-click advertising. Mm-hmm. Again, there's so much different ways that you can get traffic these days, and you're going to be sharing it coming this October at the Bootcamp MD. Can you talk about how you got involved in Bootcamp MD and why you feel something like this course is needed for doctors and other healthcare professionals? Absolutely.
So I got involved because I spoke at the last one. Yes. There was a call.
How did I get involved? Let's put it back. How did I get involved with coming to Atlanta?
Right. You got involved with coming to Atlanta because I reeled you in. But no, when I went to the last Bootcamp MD, when I just not only as a speaker, it was so valuable that I thought we need this on the East Coast. And so, of course, I whispered in your ear like, yo, come on, let's do this.
I don't know if it's a whisper, but yeah.
But yeah, so, come on, let's do this, man. And that's how, I just loved your platform. I loved how you brought the speakers together, how you allowed the interaction between the participants and the speaker with the VIP luncheon. And I got so much good feedback from the people who I've worked with since then, who were on, who came from my community, that what they loved most was that this wasn't one of those, it's just like people talk at you, like they really get like useful nuggets. Like you said, the one doc who went and grew her Facebook page to 900 people. And the value of that is, you can't even calculate the value of a growth like that, right, in such a short period of time. And so I just think that it's so important to be able to have doctors come together to learn about the entrepreneurship and creating multiple streams of income, especially virtually, so that you can leverage your time and to be able to interact with the actual speakers and get to know us, so that, if you need us as resources in the future, then you know how to reach us. And, bring your friends to the future ones. We're trying to build a community. We're really trying to empower our industry, our colleagues, and really taking on financial freedom and their careers and creating careers they love for themselves. Right. Because we know that there is some constraint in our industry right now, and it's not getting better. So that's why we're building this.
It sure is. And we'd love to have you here. It's Bootcamp MD. It's coming in October. And there's a link here so you can go ahead and register. We're just about ready to announce our next speaker. We're not ready to do that just of yet, but we're busy in the contract negotiations, getting the sign to bring you bring them there. And we're going to be talking about lead generation. We talk about multiple streams of income, affiliate
Mm-hmm.
marketing, traffic,
Mm-hmm.
how to become a, an
Mm-hmm.
influencer and a consultant, and a lot more.
Mm-hmm.
Go to the webpage and find out all the details, and we'd love to have you. And it's coming up really, really soon. So it's coming up in October 2019. And again, Maiysha and I will be there. And this is the kind of workshop where, it's not like you said, you're not just sit there and drone on and
Yeah,
wait for a
we're gonna
lunch.
put you to
Or
work.
if you're here to work, if you're here to, get the details, we want to have a lot of
Mm-hmm.
notes, bring your laptop, whatever you need to do. We want you there
Mm-hmm.
at Bootcamp MD coming this October.